I'm going to be immodest here because I'm one of the architects of the system. So I think it's tremendously, I think it's far in advance, and give you an idea of what the World Book can do. So first of all, let's talk about the problem we're trying to solve here, right, using the World Book. And that problem is what we refer to as liquidity silos. And there are small liquidity silos and maybe a little bit larger liquidity silos, which might be things like exchanges. Within these liquidity pools, they're able to trade against each other, but there's not really any mechanism for allowing them to connect to each other and to trade against each other. And that's really the central problem that the World Book is trying to solve. So how does it work under the hood? The World Book is actually two order books. It's an internal order book and an external order book. The internal order book is a currency agnostic order book, and I want to just emphasize that point, what it means to be a currency agnostic order book, or a quote currency agnostic order book, I should say. So just a little bit of jargon here. When you're trading anything, particularly when you're trading cryptocurrencies, there's a base currency. So that's what you want to buy and sell. So for this example, assume that the base currency is, say, BTC. And the quote currency, as I mentioned, it's quote currency agnostic, can be whatever a user wants it to be. So let's say you're a European trader and you've decided you want to trade in euros. So you look at the internal world order book. Now, from your point of view, it's just one order book, by the way. And you would see that entire order book denominated in euros. And if you placed a trade into that, so let's take a hypothetical example. You place a sell trade in there. You want to sell BTC, and you're hoping to receive euros for that. That will go into the order books, and that order will be fixed in euros. But let's look at the other side of the world and just imagine that somebody in Japan is now looking at that very same order book. So what they see is they see the whole order book in yen. And more importantly, that order that euro trader has placed is now floating with euro-yen rates. And what happens under the hood there is well, first of all, the World Book is looking to see if those two can be matched. And they're constantly adjusting those orders for each other according to changes with the FX rates. So it can happen that neither order changes, so somebody could be sitting on both sides and they're trying to match, and the FX rates themselves could change and cause this match to happen, right? In fact, that's an extremely likely scenario. But under the hood, what's really happening is we, QUOINE, are taking both sides of those trades, right? So we're acting as the market maker in sort of an instantaneous match. And specifically what happens is that the euro trader sells their BTC, and that we receive that as QUOINE, BTC, and then we pass that on to the Japanese trader who is buying. And the Japanese trader provides us with yen, which we then, in real time, effect a yen-euro exchange, where we, using yen, we buy euros, and then we return those euros back to the trader on the other side. So how sophisticated is that? Well, I wish Kostya was sitting around. He's usually in the room back there. Try doing that at over 1 million transactions a second. Yeah, 1 million transactions a second, and you have to make that all happen with the FX conversion in the background. So yeah, you asked me how sophisticated that is. Well, I mean, I'm biased, but I think that's really kick-ass, to be completely honest. And that's just the internal order book, right? So you asked about how sophisticated it is. There's a second piece here, which is the external order book and the SOR. For those of you who don't know, the SOR is the smart order routing system. And what this does is it allows us to connect the internal world book up to all these other liquidity silos throughout the world. So, so imagine that you're another exchange, right? So we have, let's take an example. One of the exchanges we know and love is Bitstamp. Another one might be Gemini, for example. Here in Japan, we've got a few, CoinCheck. So let's say you're Bitstamp, right? So what happens here is in real time, our SOR is checking to see whether any of the orders in our internal order book that have not been matched with other orders in other currencies, it's monitoring real time to see if any of those can be matched with external liquidity providers, right? And if it can, it will affect that transaction immediately. So let's say that we realize that, oh, your BTC USD trade here on our world book can now be matched with one externally. We will immediately affect that transaction, and we will act as the counterparty on both sides, right? And when you ask, by the way, why are we asking, or why are we going out to the markets for 150 million? A big portion of that is to increase our balance sheet so we can do, in a very effective way, the external liquidity provision, right? So, doing all of that in real time is exciting when it's, single currency. But what's even more exciting, again, I'm one of the guys who designed it, but I'm just so excited about the whole thing, is that this is not just a one-to-one thing. With the currency conversion engine, we can do amazing things where we can begin to match you up against things you would normally never, ever be matched up against. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say there's an ETH Euro trader, so the ETH Euro on Kraken is extremely liquid. And you're a BTC yen trader, right? Well, it may be possible for us to match you with them just by doing a double hop or a two-step transaction. And that's the other really exciting thing about this, is what we'll do is, if we're constantly monitoring with the SOR, and if we see that we can do an ETH BTC conversion and in this case a Euro Yen conversion, and match you, we will send out 2 trades and then match you using that. So at this point, suddenly, it becomes this massive matrix of possible matches for you that the SOR is handling. And if you ask me, how exciting is that? How cutting edge is that? Well, yeah, I think it's just blow you away. I think the only group on the planet that has anything close to this is in the FX markets. And if you want to look this company up, it's XTX. And we've kind of patented our whole thinking around these guys, right? So yeah, I think it's extremely exciting. So that's the answer to that question.